Հիմա մենք բոլորս տեսնում ենք, չէ, որ ռուսական
Now, we all see that the Russian peacekeeping troops are unable to or don't wish to perform their role, right? Take a look at how many villages were taken and how many murders took place. If the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Armenia officially expresses gratitude to the Russian peacekeeping troops and does not put the words peacekeeping troops in quotation marks, it is obvious that this is the way it will be. What do they want? And after Nikol Pashinyan declared that the territories were handed over right in front of the eyes of the Russian peacekeepers.
Ակաշները քաշել են, ասեն մի հատ հայտարարություն տվեք, ասեք սպասիբա Վլադիմիր Վլադիմիրիչ կամ Վլադիմիր Վլադիմիրիչ, դա էլ արել են։ Ու լավա չեն ասել որ ձախ ոտի վրա կկանգնենք, նոր դա կարտասանենք։
I have an understanding of what happened. They pulled their ears and told them to make a statement in which they would state, "Thank you, Vladimir Vladimirovich," or Vladimir Vladimirovich, and that's what they did. It's a good thing they didn't tell them to stand on one foot and say that. That is not the way it goes. It's about diplomacy. We say Ukraine is receiving assistance. Of course it is receiving assistance. Zelensky remained standing. The Ukrainian people remained standing. If the Ukrainian people didn't fight and Zelensky escaped in order to sign an agreement on Russia's demands during the first days of the war, would the West support Ukraine? Of course not. Those who are ready for assistance will receive assistance. There can't be any other option. Look, Armenia is a member of a military bloc that is an enemy of NATO member countries, both the military and economic blocs. The Collective Security Treaty Organization is a military bloc that is an adversary of NATO. We want guarantees from the leading NATO country. But for what? In other words, we are an enemy for Germany, France, the United States, and Greece, and the list goes on. Those countries shouldn't have been enemies, besides Turkey, which is our enemy. We are in a bloc against which there is an inimical stance, but we anticipate support from those enemies. I must say that we are the enemy not only with our words, but also actions, including the voting, participation, etc. After all, since the people give ungrateful responses, they haven't noticed and don't notice the assistance. Mr. Papian, in any case, the document, which is the so-called peace treaty, poses a great danger for us Armenians, our statehood. And whether we want it or not, the West is guided by that document. This is the reality. Now, we can't say that the people are against that document because the Armenian authorities are moving forward with this document. Well, what should be done in this case? We should do what we have already been doing. We have talked about it here, and on different occasions we have seen that that treaty should have been signed a long time ago. Let us recall our responses, what was being written in the presses. Now they say it is going to be signed in November. Well, it was going to be signed in November of last year. They were counting the days. The process is being delayed and is not being postponed, and there is less pressure from Azerbaijan. You remember how much pressure there was with respect to the corridor, right? But they still say that they are going to obtain the Zangezur corridor. They say that, but there are no more hostilities. But they seized 3 Armenian settlements without hostilities exactly a week ago today, Berdzor, Aghavno, and Sus. Yes, but those 3 settlements, and nobody opposed, including the people. Well, that's a different story. Very few compatriots opposed. But those 3 settlements were already handed over based on the infamous statement signed on November 9th, 2020. This is not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the fact that Azerbaijan was also going to invade Tavush province and seize territories, Syunik province, etc. What? Do you think the treaty wouldn't have been signed and the arable lands of certain villages wouldn't have been seized if it wasn't for the tough stance of the West? Of course the treaty would have been signed and the arable lands would have been seized. Again, Russia is not the one to thank for the current stability because if Russia was a protector, it would have shown protection in the zone of responsibility of its peacekeeping troops, right?
Վարելահողերը գրաված չեն, կլնեին։ Այն որ այսօր մի գոնե այս կայունություն կա, էլի Ռուսաստանի շնորհքը չի, որտեղ եթե Ռուսաստանը պահող լիներ, գոնե իր խաղաղապահ պատասխանատվության գոտուն կպահեր, չէ՞։
Բաժանորդագրվեք ազգային ժողովրդավարական բևեռի YouTube-յան ալիքին։